What is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Wednesday edition, the weekly stop here for Mr. Fast Eddie Fear here at FTNDaily.com, presented to you as always by Superdraft Daily Fantasy. My name is Zach Graham, aka Weisenberg DFS, here with my good friend, sporting his David Fizdale shirt, as I just noticed. Fast Eddie Fear. Eddie, how you doing today?
That for that. You know who gave me this shirt?
I don't. I think you've told me before. But,
friend of the show, Rinpack, gave me the shirt. Right. I believe. I don't know if he's probably lurking. So, friend of the show, Rinpack, sure. If you're watching, did you, point of fact, purchase me this shirt? I have a lot of fans. They send me a lot of stuff. Now, 80% of it is nudie pics, but the 20% that isn't, I do have trouble placing. I believe Rinpack may have been the individual to procure for me this excellent habiliment. Look that one up.
Yeah, I do need to look that one up.
Habiliment. There's our word for the day.
Well, we've got a kind of juicy 10-game slate here. Not a ton of crazy values out there as of now, but plenty of news that we're still waiting on. But before we dive in, Eddie, I did want to call attention to the cause that our own Josh Kruger here in the chat, one of our faithful FTN subs, our resident Canadian, pointing out to the NBA chat this morning that it is Bell Let's Talk Day in Canada, where Bell will donate 5 cents of every call or text message by a Bell customer. But if you go on Twitter or TikTok and use the hashtag Bell Let's Talk, all one word, that's 5 cents to their campaign to raise awareness and combat the stigma surrounding mental illness in Canada. So a worthy cause there. Only takes, just tweeting that hashtag out one time counts for 5 cents. And I believe you could sit there and tweet it all day, to my understanding. Wow. So again, it takes 5 or 6 seconds. If you've got a Twitter, a TikTok, and you're not a Bell customer, go ahead and do that for the people. I think that is a worthy cause, in my opinion. There's Kruger showing up in the chat. Appreciate you again, Krugers, for posting about that earlier. So I honestly don't know if it works for retweets, but I tweeted out the hashtag earlier. So everybody listening, if you got an extra 30 seconds here to spare, go ahead and do that. With that being said, Eddie, we had some points of contention with the ranks today in our chat, and then you wisely said, let's just do this on air.
Sure.
So
I like it. I'm giving you what we call in wrestling the rub. Do you know what the rub is?
No, go ahead, tell me.
The rub is when, as you get older in your career, you can go a little less in the ring. You're not as sharp. Sure. You're not as useful.
Sure.
But you wrestle the younger guys and you try to make them look good.
Okay.
It's called giving them the rub.
Sure.
So when I think you're right and I'm wrong, I'm a big fan of let's do this on air because I'm basically letting you pin me in the center of the ring here. So
okay,
let us go then, you and I, and discuss such things as these.
All right. Well, let's talk then first the Charlotte Hornets, because there are 3 games they go off right at lock in about 51 minutes. Hornets visiting the Pacers tonight. Both teams shorthanded, notably shorthanded. And so let's start up top here in the rankings, because I think both of us, we've got 3 10s in the ranks currently for this Hornet side. LaMelo Ball, I think we both agree on at a 10 with his 8.1 price point
8?
on DK. Right. Yeah, very juicy.
8.1, sir.
And then we had this is where we had our conversation about 15 minutes ago on PJ Washington and Cody Martin. So let me make my case for PJ, and then I'll let you respond. Okay. For me, PJ, obviously last night, those who rostered
I think we're bearing the lead here if we're talking about Charlotte players.
Or just that Gordon Hayward's sitting out Wednesday.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it is Wednesday. I should pour one out as in an energy drink on my head. It is it's sad. It's just a sad moment for me. Last week was the beginning of the end, and now he's literally been between his ankle, having the COVID, and his back.
Yeah. Now we won't see him for at least 5 days, right?
Yeah. So very sad. Okay, sorry, Cody Martin, a little more relevant, but
sure. Well, let's start with PJ because I'm a little bit bigger fan of PJ, although I think both of those guys are fantastic values tonight. The power forward eligibility for PJ Washington draws my eye as it has over the last couple games with Jalen McDaniels out. Gordon Hayward being out does not hurt his prospects. 4.7 on DK, right around a fantasy point per minute player this season, and I believe for his career. Not that it's a lengthy career yet. I believe year 3 here for young PJ.
I would guess off the top of my head he's better this year than he's been in the past. Just more center time and stuff. You said he's 0.97 this year. Yeah, I think he'd be closer to like 0.9 previous to this year or something. But
sure.
But
so I think you're getting 30 to 32 minutes as long as he doesn't get in a fight in the first quarter again, as he did last night, and get thrown out of the game. And for me at 4.7, he projects really well. And I like that I can get a guy who's going to play a lot of time at center tonight. Maybe less than he would if they had some more depth there, but just because you're going to need more Mason Plumlee out there tonight. Again, Borrego, not a guy that likes to extend his rotation if he doesn't have to. So I love PJ tonight on DraftKings, a little bit less so on Superdraft. I don't think he's a priority there, even at his 1.7 and multiplier. And then Cody Martin, 4K, played 38 minutes last night. Nowhere near the fantasy point per minute player that PJ Washington is. But for me, 4K, guard forward eligible there on DK. If he's going to get, over 35 minutes, I absolutely love him at that price.
So I don't disagree largely with anything you had to say. I will say the following. This is a beefy slate. This is a solid 10-game slate, and we are talking about locking up several positions and amounts of money at the start of the game, and I like other guys in this game. I'm actually a big fan of ending there. Jared Allen isn't. I'm a big fan of getting to LaMelo. I think LaMelo goes under-owned. He managed to play the full game without getting tossed on his keister last night, but only played 32 minutes. I have him for a little bit more than that in this game, and it projects great. And he absolutely dropped the hammer on the Pacers at least once this year, if memory serves. And so my reasons to be generically concerned with the Hornets are I'm locking my money at 7. These guys all project extremely well. So just anti-Hornet reasons where you're locking your money at 7. And my favorite Hornet is LaMelo Ball. Hence, I am disinclined to go with popular value. It is an outstanding matchup. This Pacers defense without Miles Turner and without Malcolm Brogdon and without, half the team is terrible. They're really bad. Like, they are probably the worst defense in the NBA as we stand here. And that is really saying something at the moment. So matchup great. And these guys both project, like I would have them at 9s. But the early lock, and I suspect you and I have a differential in minutes on one, if not both of these guys. I have Martin for 35, and I have Washington for 29. How many minutes do you have these guys for? Got him. It's over. It's over. Clear the board. Clear the board. No?
I didn't mute it. Did Thomas do that to me? I swear I didn't mute it.
That? I didn't ask Thomas to do that. If you did that, Thomas, I owe you $20. That was awesome. I haven't got my heart rate up like that since my wife on the ski trip.
I swear I did not mute it.
What's going on here? I need a ruling. I need a ruling. Thomas claims to have done nothing.
I don't know what to tell you.
Growing up means taking responsibility for your actions.
I mean, it was muted, but no, I did not.
Let me read the sign. Read the sign for me.
Yeah, 29 days.
With exactly, but it says without talking while muted. It doesn't say without muting myself. So even if it was unintentional, the sign has to be cleared because you spoke while muted on the stream. All right, moving on there. There was
what is it?
Okay. That's fine. We're gonna move on here. We're gonna clip that, by the way. We gotta put that on the sizzle reel. So I was asking you, and suddenly you were moving your lips, and no sound was coming out about number of minutes you have projected for Martin and Warsh.
Yeah. Fuck. Sorry. 36 for Cody, 30 for PJ for me.
Okay, so I have them each for a minute less.
Okay.
These are relevant distinctions. There is a real conversation as to how much time we think Warsh gets at the 4 here. Now, clearly, he's going to get the non-Plumlee center minutes, which is very relevant here. But they're going to run, Ball Rozier, Martin, Bridges as sort of their starters there, and we assume you'll get, a fair amount of at the 4 and at the 5 Washington. But I don't think that's necessarily guaranteed. So I will go with I will stick with my. You want a side bet? I'll take PJ Washington. By the way, we're even. Are we not on the big board?
Yeah, 19, 19, and 1 is the count.
Tremendous. Basically like football this last weekend. It could go. Anyway, riveting stuff. I would take PJ Washington under 30 minutes if you wanted that bet.
I'll go over.
You got me on Valanciunas. All right, put it on the board. Okay, so we got that taken care of. So it's a little bit of a minutes disparity. The matchup is pretty good. My basic number came out with him with, I think, 27.25 fantasy points. That seems a touch low. It should probably be like 27.75. Not a particularly relevant distinction. Yeah, he looks really good. Ford looks good, but I think a bit more of my consternation is I kind of want to play LaMelo. I kind of don't want to lock 2 guys on one team this early. I think you can stack the shit out of this game and run back with, say, LeVert. You could certainly run back. You could run back with LeVert. You can run back with Goga, by the way. Mm-hmm. Goga, a lot of people are going to move off of Goga. I wasn't messing around when I was talking about Goga. He hasn't had the best matchups yet. We've had foul trouble. We've had getting pissy and fight, and we've had all kinds of stuff. Goga can drop 50 on, I would rather Biombo if I'm in that mid-tier center reason. And again, I would rather save money because I don't know if team is going to get hit by COVID or a bus or whatever the fuck in the next 3 hours. But Goga would still have a fair amount of appeal. Any bounce back performance for Oubre with injury news in this matchup? I do not recall Oubre's price offhand. So I'm going to have to look at that.
5-4, I believe. Yeah, 5-4.
There is no one who is going to get appreciable minutes who is in any range of a reasonable option on Charlotte who isn't going to project as a perfectly capable, cromulent, reasonable choice against Indiana. They're that bad. These guys should run. So I love LaMelo. I very strongly like PJ Washington and Cody Martin. You absolutely can consider probably my next order in GPP preference would be Rozier, Plumlee. You just get Goga fouled 6 times. Oubre, then Bridges, who probably they'd start Torrey Craig and sick Torrey Craig on him if they haven't announced that yet. So he's got marginally the toughest matchup, and he actually costs more than Melo, and just seems easy for Melo to get where he's going. But all those guys are very, reasonably in play. So, yes.
Holy shit. James Harden questionable.
Right. So see my reasons as to why maybe the value on Charlotte is not something we necessarily want to flag plant on. Again, we wanted that news in 30 or 40 minutes, maybe not 45. But big eyes for me. This changes everything. Yes, that's fair. Day'Ron Sharpe ruled out. Okay, so that's actually really interesting because they had become one of about 5 teams in the NBA that was playing 3 or 4 centers a game. Actually, I don't think I was playing 4, but they were playing 3 centers a game.
They played 3, yeah.
Yeah, they were dividing the time between Sharpe,
Claxton,
and the Scotty Brooks, Sharpe, Claxton, and Aldridge. They will now start Aldridge unless they just want to make Claxton look really bad. So they will now start Aldridge and be like, okay, can you do something against this Jokic guy? Who probably can. Hammer Denver -2.5. Yes. But Brooklyn is the answer here now. This Denver team is not good defensively. And they're going to have to play.
Oh, it's the young guys in Patty, essentially.
Mills and 36 minutes of Bembry.
Bruce Brown, Cam Thomas.
James Johnson probably plays 20 again. He played 18 last night.
Duke is down, I believe.
Duke is down, but Kessler Edwards is not going to So reason _4 that I would be slightly disinclined towards the guys you and I mentioned. I don't want to overstate the case. You can certainly get to several of those guys. The last, I haven't looked at my placeholder in an hour because of research, but Claxton is also out. Blake or Nectat. Claxton's also out? What did I think?
Yeah, I forgot about that. They ruled him out earlier in the day.
Illness
I believe for the back.
It didn't hit
injury
my normal
management.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, so they're on the back end. Both these teams are on the back end. Like this, I have notes here. Hold on, let me go to my Denver-Brooklyn notes. It's funny because the first line is going to seem prescient now. With both these teams on a back-to-back and so focused on their individual superstars, while definitely the ceiling for those superstars is massive, there is also any amount of fungibility and shit could get really weird. Good morning. The shit has gotten weird. So, do we like Joker less now? Yes, you have to. The only way in which you like him more is his risk of foul trouble is down. That's your.
Is that the same ham? Is the left side, the left hamstring, what Harden pulled in the playoffs last year? Not that I don't think any of us would. Maybe Stefano would remember that, but
no, it's his left hammy.
I mean, that's not good news.
There's a lot of that going around.
I mean, because if that's coming out now, that means that was pregame warm up. He pulled it.
Not necessarily. Like I would have to go look at the schedule, and I don't want to take 2 minutes to figure that out and see actually what time and whether or not it was a thing in the pregame warm up. It just means that it didn't feel right at, you know what I'm saying? Like he got out and took some shots, and then just like you've had, it just tightens up in the back there, and it just feels like you can feel like the solid card, so you can put some weight on it, you can take a shot, you can do whatever, and it gets better or not. Watch Joker go apeshit still. Don't think about the blowout. Well, sure. And there's a very real, possibility there. But you're spending, he's the most expensive player on the slate. You're spending a lot of money. He's been amazing. Jokic's production this last month especially, but the whole year, but this last month especially, and consistency in doing so has been gobsmacking. Number of, 21, 18, and 12 games this guy's put up 75 fantasy points is really quite something. But, there are a lot of guys who cost $8K who have really big upsides, including, which I will allude to getting back to in this game. I think there's a pretty big ceiling for Karis LeVert. Like,
I love Karis tonight.
He disappointed everybody in the last game. That's true, but the matchup is really strong. They are not on a back-to-back. No one plays today and tomorrow. There are, I think, 9 teams on a back-to-back, including 2 games, including the Brooklyn and Denver one of both teams having played yesterday. So there is some weird shit going to be going on, which is another reason to be less inclined towards early lock. So I like Karis LeVert a lot. He does not project as the best player on the slate. Right now, I have 32 minutes and 41 and a quarter fantasy points. That's fine, but he's going to be really low owned. And in this matchup, if this game stays close, and if you're looking for a run back from this team, with me being less inclined, it'd be very interesting as I went back and forth between LeVert and Goga. But LeVert and Batadze are certainly the two who stand out to me at the moment. Refreshing maths here. I have LeVert and Batadze as the ones I would be most interested in tournaments. Neither of them are musts, but if you're looking for run backs, I think that's what they are. I don't really want a Brissett. I've seen him over projected around the industry. Brissett, like bruschetta, like the delicious, and a great song by Rush. But anyway, the
Wade's gonna start for Markkanen again.
Yeah, expected. So I keep seeing O'Shea Brissett at 25, 26 minutes. I have him at like 18, so I'm just not doing that. He's still behind Jackson and Batadze, and Charlotte isn't that big, and I don't think we need that. So Morant or Murray or Luka, the best pivots? Well, LaMelo is the best pivot. Just getting back to that. Now, if we're excluding him for whatever reason or looking for games at that time or later, I would actually have them Luka, Morant, DeJounte before we get into the Spurs. But that's a very interesting question. But I would probably rather play. Actually, by price, I would actually have it Morant, Luka, DeJounte, the order. And
so you're assuming the Memphis guys sit then?
No, I'm not sure what that means.
Really? Interesting. I find it hard to get to Ja if Bane and who else, Clark, are in. Like, he just doesn't have the same upside, specifically with Bane in. That's the big key to me.
I'd like to get Bane out, but it's worth pointing out with Tyus out, the minutes have really been stretching up for him. So I have him at 37.5 minutes, which is more than anyone else does. So for that reason, I'm a little more excited about Ja. You don't like the individual matchup with DeJounte, but he's actually regularly smacked him around pretty good. And I think again, I just like it that he's undersold. I think not enough people realize that he's in a pretty good spot. So I like, again, it's 10K. I'm not super excited, but based on where I think their ownership ends up, if Harden sits, Patrick goes full FIBA mode, yes or not necessarily. Which Patrick are we referring to? Are we talking about international?
Yeah.
International Patty. Stand up to a fight with any man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I should start projecting Brooklyn with him out. How do you rank Mills as net value rating? As we sit here, he's fine. Like so he randomly has small forward eligibility, which does a lot for you.
Yeah.
Point guard, small forward, so he's covering a lot of ground there. I really like getting players from this game with Harden in. I like getting players from this game. A lot of them are a little risky, but with Day'Ron Sharpe out now, Aldridge is a really interesting question. I still think I prefer Biyombo and Goga, but that's a question. But Mills right now, just sort of as a value rating right now, would probably be. It'd still probably be an 8 now, and would go up to a 9 on our 1 to 10 scale with Harden out. But a lot of guys in that game would get exciting.
Vooch is in. Tyler Cook is in.
Yeah. Very good. This is no problem.
Before we move on, let me just do
I would say I
gotta do, Eddie. 92 people watching, only 9 likes. We gotta get that up. Hit that like button. Helps us out, Eddie. Helps out the channel.
There's pills you can get that'll help you with that.
That's true. Very true. Mitch Robb is in. Javonte Green, same limit, 22 to 25 minutes for the Bulls. Nerlens ruled out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll just back up Mitchie with Tosh probably, but that's
Mitch is priced up now, 6K on DK.
Yeah. Okay, so it's also worth pointing out when we're talking about Luka. Luka tweaked his knee a little bit, and they're also playing. Oh no, ankle. See, ankle. It's Kristaps' knee and Luka's ankle. I think that's right. Oh well, his leg got re-injured in the game last night, so I'm not 1,000% he actually gets out there or is 100% on the back-to-back. Like, the matchup is obviously godly. Portland, not quite Indiana bad right now, but they're bad. So so there will be keeping track of game times and making sure that you have the ability to. That is one of the Portland game, the Dallas game in Portland, is the 10 p.m. game. So it's one of the 2 10 p.m. games. So just make sure if you have Luka sitting in a placeholder, if you get he's 100% and he's going to go out there yippity skippity, go ahead. But make sure you have him in a spot where he can turn into Kristaps if he doesn't, or what have you. So just have a plan if Luka doesn't play, because I think he probably plays, but like 88%, not like 98%, which is any given day.
Sure. Let's flip to a different team here. I guess let's scan through the other games. I mean, Milwaukee, Cleveland, and Clippers, Orlando. Milwaukee, Cleveland, a much better game from a real basketball standpoint. Probably the one we want to watch. But Clippers, Orlando, maybe some more fantasy goodness there, at least in relation to the DraftKings prices here. Let's start with the Clippers. Sure. Obviously, still no PG, no Kawhi. Best friend Marcus Morris will be out again tonight with the personal issue. And we saw last night, it was, I think, Reggie Jackson, Nick Batum, Ivica Zubac, all benched at the half by Coach Ty Lue.
Yep.
And then the miraculous comeback, Luke Kennard at 7 points in like 10 seconds or whatever, including the 4-point game winner. So like looking at this team, I know that you have some love for Terrence Mann, 3.7, maybe a little bit more elevated than me. I think he's still obviously at that price, a very solid value. And Luke Kennard, what I want to do is pull up Kyle's ownership here, because I think people could chase that. He look 10.5% right now.
That's quite a bit. I mean, that's
on this 10-game slate.
Top 20 players or something. I mean, that is not low ownership by any means.
Sure.
Everyone in for the Hawks, by the way. Buck starting who we expected.
Gotcha. He still he projects pretty strong for me because I think he's gonna get mid-20s in minutes at 4.2. He's been okay this year. This team needs to win, and because they don't have their picks. So if you had your picks, you could tank with your top guys out and do a whole thing, but that's not what they're trying to do here. And I think
in Oklahoma City,
the overall discussion of Luke Kennard as a player is a different conversation. For our purposes here, I feel like he's a really strong play as well.
I agree. I would have him as far as projection a tier behind, say Martin.
Sure.
And I do think the ownership is mildly swelled because of his heroics last night, which is perfectly reasonable, but still no Marcus Morris, still falling into a 9-man rotation. I would not end up with him in one lineup simply based on the fact that I don't like reacting to one day before when I can possibly avoid it. And there are just so many other places to go. We're about to hit Nets value. And if Barton is out, I'm a big Monty Morris fan we can get to later. And there's just a lot of places to spend money. And the minutes on this team are just not reliable. So, I think I'll give you my last projection. I believe I had him at 26 or something. I mean, which is perfectly fine. I'm for 27. Okay. But you could get a competitive game the other way. And because all the starters are well rested, they get a lot of time. So instead of Reggie Jackson playing the 14 minutes he played last night or whatever the hell that was, or the 28 or 29 he averages, maybe he plays 34. And who knows what happens with Bledsoe. And sometimes you get ceiling games for extra minutes out of Brandon Boston. And, this is Kennard projects just fine. I have him for 27 minutes and 22.5 fantasy points. At 4,200, that's fine. I think he'll be owned more than you suggested. You said he had 10 or 11%. We'll have that one at lock. I'll throw 14 at you for Luke Kennard.
Sure. We did just get their starters: Reggie Jackson, Amir Coffey, Terrence Mann, Nick Batum, and Ivica Zubac. Does it worry you at all that Kennard only played 9 minutes in the first half yesterday?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's fine to get to Kennard, but I would rather play Terrence Mann, who, for reference, I have Terrence. I will take Terrence Mann over Luke Kennard right now if you want. I'll take Terrence Mann raw fantasy points over Luke Kennard if you want to put that bet on the board.
I'm good on that.
You sure? Because and you save $500 and just So
guard. Yeah. No, actually, small forward, power forward now for Mr.
Mann. Yeah, both forward position.
My only other question on this Clippers team, Eddie, is Isaiah Hartenstein seems to be getting the run over Serge Ibaka now. I don't think we're gonna. What's that?
Serge is done.
Yeah,
I think Serge is wonderful fashion, excellent cook, a man of wonderful taste, badinage. But I think Serge is on the twilight. I don't think Serge. I'll go 50-50 plays in the NBA next year, and I'll say done after that. I have a soft spot for Serge. He was my first overall pick in my first season-long fantasy draft ever.
Really?
He was a monster in OKC because he was
I know.
percentage blocks, but he was an absolute monster. I was 7th overall pick or something, or 10th, but in the first round of my first draft.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with Serge Ibaka and his propensity back in his prime for going. I don't know, what was it, 11 of 11 from the field in that big game 5, 2012, I believe that was their finals run year.
You're goddamn right. So we have a question about rankings updates, and you try to stay on that as much as you can. And I will try to talk for a bit so you can fiddle with that as we make all.
My guy Steelers fan asking about that. It's I update those throughout the night. There's a timestamp on there as well.
I would be clear. I would say at this point there is a 40% James Harden plays and a 20% chance he plays unfettered.
Sure.
If I had to guess. I think he was going to be owned close to 30%. He was my highest overall projected player. I had him a touch over 70. It was a very good spot. Obviously, played a lot of minutes last night. The back-to-back was a concern that is now rearing its ugly head. I suspect he's still over-owned. If he plays and starts, I have no issue with you playing James Harden. But again, there's just a lot of other places where there are guys like Doncic can put up a ridiculous number against Portland, assuming he's fine in place. Obviously, Jokic across the ball. If you don't want to spend 11, 12K on a guy, you have guys like LaMelo Ball and Yusuf Nurkic and Zach LaVine and Karis LeVert. And there's a lot of guys with a lot of upside who save you $4,000 and go off at 8% instead of 27. So, that is where I am at. I'm just Trae Young for 1%. I will pick the over on that. I would probably pick the over barely on 5, but it'll be low.
Were you privy to, just finishing up on Harden there, were you privy to his price drop on FanDuel? Fucking 10-2 over there.
I was not, though it is important to say, although most of you know this, that those numbers are figured before yesterday's slate launches.
Yeah, sure.
Not like they watched yesterday's game and went, oh, better take that number down.
We also knew before yesterday's slate that we would have no Kevin Durant, no Kyrie Irving tonight. So an interesting decision, regardless. There.
One of the reasons I've enjoyed, now controlling your daytime hours as well and getting you jobs on the other side of the production of all these games is you get to have a better sense of that shit.
Yeah.
Of like, as I'm on the air all the time talking to like FanDuel and DraftKings for 5 years. Like, okay, your playoff slates, motherfuckers. Are you serious? Are you serious? You can't do a 4-game slate across 2 days, or we've got like 3 years. And could you make your shit better? And so I'm glad to have gotten you involved and expanded the criterion by which you can bitch.
All right, getting a little bit of intel. One of our people in the chat, one of our reliable subs, and a guy that we do. We go back multiple years. Knows a Brooklyn beat writer, and that said beat writer says he thinks James Harden sits tonight. For what it's worth, that's not gospel, but
outside like that means.
I've seen the text messages.
Irrational. I believe you. I frequently get the same sort of intel.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're saying you've seen the text. Okay, it's one step more verifiable to me. All right, so I'm going to start projecting the Nets as if James Harden does not play. This is going to be tricky.
Let's see, getting a question, Goga or Whiteside on FanDuel. Familiarize myself with the prices there. Believe both of those guys. Center only, you got Goga at 5.5. Whiteside also at 5.5. I think I would prefer Goga, but you're obviously pushing back the salary and increasing your flexibility to late swap if you take Whiteside. Both of those guys look really good for the 5.5 price tag. But straight up, I would take Goga. I don't think, like, I'm just not encouraged. I don't know if there's rarely been a time in his career that I've been encouraged by Whiteside's effort, but like watching him over the last couple games, he just looks uninterested.
He's really bad too defensively at this point. It's one of the reasons I like Biyombo.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to start Whiteside. Biyombo is going to, like, and I'm nervous because I've been like, I'm bookending my Biyombo exposure where day one, I like Biyombo more than everyone else. And then the next few games was like, all right, let's not get carried away. And apparently Bismack did not hear me before he got carried fucking away. Now I'm ready to go back. So we'll see.
Speaking of that, like, do we want to talk Phoenix here? Because I know that's one of the later games, but I think you and I share, along with the rest of the industry, some love for Cam Johnson still at 4.3 there.
Yeah, he looks great.
And talking about that front court, do you think that we could maybe see some Cam Johnson at the 5 tonight? Because they don't want to play. The franchise does not want Jalen Smith. For whatever reason, obviously he hasn't not been great, whether it was Summer League preseason, the limited time he's played in the regular season. But Utah could go small here. Like, I don't think you're going to see Azubuike regardless tonight with Rudy Gay and Pascal active. So, like, can you Cam Johnson against Rudy Gay at the 5? Maybe.
Pacers starting who we expected. No, I will vote the no that there is not. I think Jalen Smith will get the remnant of the time.
Okay. Looks like Tyreek. Sorry, it looks like Tyreek also has some Nets insider text there going on. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. Appreciate you, Tyreek.
Nice. Fred and Scotty are game time decisions. That's kind of annoying, but that is another reason to not lock shit because that game can get very sexy again, much like we saw last night with point forward center Pascal Siakam. That's all kinds of good times.
Yeah.
Too much news up in the air. I'm only playing LaMelo from the first batch of games. I like LaMelo. I like Mann. I like LeVert. I like Goga. I like Washington. I like Martin. All those guys project extremely well.
Yep.
I don't think you need to play any of them. There's a lot going on. There are
Hornets, no surprises.
Starting who we expected.
How about let's touch on Milwaukee and Cleveland just because that's the one game at lock that we really haven't talked a ton about. Does it like Giannis had the Q tag all day? He was listed probable. He's in as expected. With Harden potentially being out here, maybe that takes a little bit of the shine off Jokic if you think that Denver can really handle the young Nets plus Patty and LaMarcus there. Does Giannis become a priority for you now that he still has the power forward eligibility, 11-8? Like this game, like in terms of the implied total, doesn't really stand out. 218.5 on my last refresh, but now down to 217 is what I see. But it's Giannis, and he's probably not going to have a ton of ownership. Let me see what Kyle's got.
I'm going to guess Kyle's got 3%. I'll throw out his number there for Giannis. It's going to be that one, I would think.
Yeah, the number that I'm seeing, I don't think is accurate. It's sub 1%, but
it's going to be very low. It's irrelevant.
Yeah. Single digits, right?
There is really not a big difference on a 10-game slate between 1% and 3% ownership.
Sure.
Very, very, very low ownership.
Sure.
My quick answer would be I think that ownership is appropriate, and if you want to have shares of Giannis, go right ahead. He projects for low to mid 50s in fantasy points at an extremely expensive price tag. With Harden going out, sure, more likely he has less work to do to be the highest scoring guy of the night. Now, basically, you need him to get over Jokic to set himself alone in sort of a pricing tier. If he gets over Jokic, well, it's not just that because there's all the 10K, 9K, and 8K guys, and they can just end up being a better lineup. So that's kind of an aim. But I guess my point would be, yeah, that's about where he should be on. Can he go out and drop 76 on the Cavs? Yeah, of course he can. It's not an ideal matchup. You've obviously got Drew and Middleton there. Those aren't great. Jared Allen being in isn't particularly good for him as he is the individual guy who ends up guarding Giannis. Giannis being out would have been very good for Jared Allen, but they'll stick Mobley over on Portis. So yeah, I cannot recommend Giannis. He's going to project worse points per dollar than almost every other player who costs 8K or more. But it's Giannis. He has a fucking ceiling. You can get 11 stocks and a triple double. Like that's absolutely in his bag of tricks. So I don't have great analysis there. It is not a good matchup. It is not a good pace. He does not project incredibly well. All the guys who are there to contribute to usage are there to contribute to their usage. So sure, play Giannis if you want to. He's going to be 2% on. That's about what he should be on.
Sure. Let's see. We've got a lot of questions.
Nets.
Yeah. Nets.
This is going to take me a couple more minutes. And you don't need to know now, and you don't want to know now. Like I don't have starters, so like making actionable decisions based on the guess I'm going to put forward as to what happens with the Nets. I mean, they probably would start Mills, Bembry, Edwards, Aldridge,
Bruce Brown.
Yeah, or Cam.
I feel like Nash loves bringing Cam off the bench in this scenario.
Yeah, but like got to do some more research on this.
I mean, I think the answer right now is just make sure you have, if you have a guy that you
want
to
to
lock
open
in.
spots, if you're on DraftKings in the bottom half of your damn lineup, don't lock more than you need to. Like the existence of potentially very, very good value on this Nets team. Like we can talk about who remains on this Nets team and what they cost, which gives you a sense of what the real value could be if these guys were out. So if he's out, there's obviously still no Durant, no Irving. So you're looking at the most expensive player on the team is Aldridge at 5.3, Mills at 4.9, Edwards at 4.3, Cam Thomas at 3.5, Bembry at 3.4, who I liked anyway. I think he was in my placeholder. I have no issue with guard and forward eligible DeAndre Bembry. And if Harden is out, he should get very popular. Like he fills a lot of holes at that point. Johnson, Brown, Griffin, all these guys have value. Millsap is not going to play. He's still personal, like he isn't active. Probably just waiting for a trade for whatever reason. Also, make sure you Bruce Brown and don't Bryce Brown by mistake.
Yep,
it's critical. Okay. Harden about to get traded to Philly, unlikely. Although plans formulating for trade deadline show, so that'll be fun. The next kick in the nuts will be when Fox is ruled in. Yeah, I mean that's again a game in. Wait a minute. When is the Sacramento game? That's in Atlanta. Oh, that's just a half hour. Yeah.
That's 7:30.
Mills moves to a 10 if not Harden. No, there would be enough variables there, and he's expensive enough and scoring dependent enough that a 10 is too much. It'd be a very good GPP play. There's a ceiling there. It costs very little. Wouldn't be too owned, assuming that news comes out closer towards that lock as opposed to like right now. So I'd like him a lot. 10 is a big number. 10 is like there's really no flaws with this, and just they could limit Mills a little bit. This game could get out of hand, and he could just shoot. Even if he gets the shot volume, which he probably would. He would end up projecting for me for like 17 shots or something, assuming he started and played 3x minutes. But I would rather Aldridge than Mills at that point. Aldridge brings not quite as much offensive curry, but close to it, and just a number of other stat things. But yeah, if we get hard news after 7, what would you say the optimal number of Nets players would be? Less than everyone keeps thinking. People overstate. Like the other day, remember our Monday show? We're talking about Jazz, and we're like 3 or 4. Remember that?
Yep.
You know how many Jazz were in the best possible lineup?
How many?
1. Daniel House. You look at last night's games with the insane Toronto and the insane. You might have got up to 2 Pelicans. Like I will look up the best possible lineup from last night, where you had that game where everyone but Herbie went the hell off. But in a decent sized slate, 3 in a GPP. If we're trying to win a GPP, should generally be about the cap you should get to. Last night's slate, best possible team was Cunningham, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Anthony Edwards, Nemanja Bjelica, Joel Embiid, Luke Kennard, Tobias Harris, Willie Hernan-Gomez. So there were 2 Pelicans, 2 expensive 76ers. Good luck with that one. 1-1-1-1. Now, this is overly reductive, and this is overly simplistic because there are plenty of times that other guys, well, they maybe didn't happen to fit in best fucking possible. We're still really, really good. So, for example, if we look at Monday, yes, you had Daniel House get 40 whatever the fuck fantasy points at the minimum and be the only guy who happened to actually fall into that lineup. But you had Butler was very good and Forrest was very good. I mean, there were 4 other guys who barely missed it by a beat. So I don't want to be overly reductive with this. But people are like, how many guys on the Nets? The answer is probably 2. It's a really big slate. There's going to be lots of guys who work out fine. It would be weird for me to play more than 2 guys on any team on this slate. 3 would be the absolute max for me. So I see people saying like 4 or something. I'm assuming the Raptors are in both of them, but that is obviously some degree of variability. As we are coming down to it here.
Yeah, about 10 minutes and change. And I will give the people props. We were in single-digit likes on the YouTube video there, asked, and we're up to 30 now. So appreciate everybody. If you haven't liked it yet, go ahead and click that button.
That's okay.
That's only for the freeloaders. That's everybody can click the button. It's okay if you don't want to pay the money, but if you're here for free, click the damn button.
Yeah.
Let's see where else. I guess let's say to the subs. If you guys have questions with 10 minutes to go about these 3 games, definitely let's prioritize those. The 3 games that go off at lock here.
So the Cleveland Milwaukee game seems unnecessary to me. Like, I like Garland a lot. I'm sitting in Ohio. I'm a big fan of the team. You can Dean Wade again if you want to be cute. You can Okoro will have his hands full and get lots of Drew out there. But just nothing is going to project that good, and I don't know why with all the shit up in the air you would lock like value or players from this game. So GPP exposure to Garland, fine. GPP exposure to Mobley, I guess.
Yeah. On a shorter slate, I would on a shorter slate or a different slate, I would want some Rondo at min price, but not on this.
Is he actually at mid price? Yeah, they did say after the last game, Bickerstaff came out and said he wasn't on a minutes limit. Played 18 minutes, and apparently there's no limit on him. So you could get 22, 24 or something. That's not out of the realm possibility. That opens up a little upside there, but if you're playing less than 5 lineups, a player from this game just does not make sense.
Yeah. Let's see. Kruger's asking, would Fred VanVleet or Barnes being in be more of a negative for Precious, or is it only if both are in?
Either one is a negative because they have enough fungibility with positions where Trent plays and where Boucher plays, and you want everyone out possible.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll just be like, oh, we have to give all these minutes to. It's also really weird where they sort of end up running, again, point guard Siakam, so that they run Precious at center. So it's you want them all out.
Even if Barnes is out, I think Barnes runs more of the. He's going to handle more of the ball if he's in there and Fred is out.
Yeah.
But if you get Precious starting at center at 3-8, I'm gonna have some love there. But again, I'm assuming both of those guys will play, that being Fred VanVleet and Scotty Barnes.
Yeah. No, it stinks. I was going to try to get out of here before 8, but with the Brooklyn game and the Toronto game both at 8, I think I'm in for the long haul. If you are, like, I don't think I can justify going.
Yeah. 8, I got to bounce because we were recording the podcast right after 8. All
right, we'll do 2 hours then. Everyone sit tight. We'll hold your hand through this.
Hugo asking, who is now Phil Connors' toaster.
That's nice. Phil Connors. Phil Connors. Okay. That's Groundhog Day. I'm coming around to it.
Gotcha.
Right?
He said, since we're waiting on news, forego Giannis on Superdraft at the 1X.
Yes.
Sure. I mean, he's still fine.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't play. It's Giannis. I mean, there's only so much. He does not project well on either side relative to some of the other options.
Sure. Let's see. Winky in here posting a Lewenberg tweet saying that Nurse says the plan is to go back to a deeper rotation with the schedule getting busy. Hopes to use 9 to 10 guys per night, though the back end of the rotation could look different depending on matchups and the hot hand.
Now, J. Lou is very good, so that's
very locked into the team. Yeah, that's not great.
Well, it's all right. It's great for basketball reasons. It's great for less of these guys getting hurt. It speaks to. I'm going to be honest. I think he got front office chatted. Not that it really matters, but
got Masai.
I think Masai was like, maybe use a bench.
The fuck out. Yeah.
No, I'm serious. I literally think the order of operations Fred's knee went to shit, and they were like, and Scotty's a rookie, and they're like, of the top 10 guys in the league in minutes, 4 of them are on our team. Maybe take a fucking chill pill, develop talent. Like, are we in the finals right now? Like, you want to play these guys 41 minutes a game, 44 minutes a game, 46 minutes a game in the playoffs. Okay, that's a conversation. It's fucking January. Take a chill pill, dude. Maybe let's see what, we drafted Champagne and Delano Barton and all, I hear this Boucher guy could be good someday. Scotty Barnes, he's in the rotation, so he was the worst example there. But maybe take a chill with the minutes. So thoughts on Nurk tonight with some guys out. He projects really well for me. I think just for pricing reasons, I am inherently slightly more inclined towards the guys who cost the 5s and the 6s and getting into the Biombo range and that stuff. But that's a great spot. 7,700 is too cheap. The matchup with Dallas is bad, but the volume is there. The minutes have started to be there. I have him up to 33 minutes tonight. He projects for, I think, 42.5 is where I ended with him. Like, is it worth it, Yusuf Nurkic? I think it is.
Jake says, sorry, interrupting. Jake says, count on 5.5 guys tonight for the Raptors then.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to,
I'm with you on Nurkic, by the way.
He projects. He, as far as point expectation right now, is my number 6 guy on the whole slate. So Nurkic projects extremely well for me. He's under 8K, projects for well north of 40 fantasy points. He's been real good. Yeah.
Yes. On FanDuel, you've got Goga at 5.5.
Brilliant.
And then over there, you've got Karis LeVert at, for the delay, 7.8. Would you be okay to pair those two guys?
Sure.
I agree.
Yeah, play LaMelo. He's too cheap. He's even cheaper on FanDuel. He's 7.8 or something on FanDuel. Like, I play LaMelo in that lineup, if at all possible. And then, or get some of the value guys in there, but sure.
Let's talk. Let's talk Jimmy buckets here, because the price on DraftKings is fairly cheap here. I think 8.5. 8.5 for Jimmy. Matchup, slow pace game, maybe the slowest on the slate here. Looking at
it is by far. They're 202 or something. That's the slowest by 10.
Yeah,
there's no one else. I mean, it's the slowest.
With the upside on a guy like that at 8.5, I
think it's great. I think it's absolutely great. The very similar to like LeVert, the ceiling is there. The ownership is not like you're going to get Tyler Hero back. I expect. I think we're firm on that. If not, whatever. There's still no Kyle Lowry for like the 6th game with whatever personal issue he's dealing with. Still no Kyle Lowry out there. But yeah, Butler without Lowry is a very real thing if you watch this team play. Now there's Hero back, there's Bam back. So like I'm not over the moon about it, but he's going to be 5% owned and projects very well. So I like getting there more than the Giannis recently. We talked about there's a big ceiling there, and he obviously again produces in enough ways that the slowness of the matchup is less of a dearth than someone who is largely getting their points on one side of the ball, and number of possessions is critical. The 6,700 Suggs too expensive. He's been crushing. Like that's the FanDuel price, I assume, right? Because I don't know. That's not. DK is 5.8, and I don't hate him. He has started to. I mean, he has had more usage, touches, dimes, just action than we've seen out of Cole Anthony for the last few games. So is 67 too expensive? Probably on a slate this juicy. That's a lot to ask for. But Clippers defense is really goddamn bad. Not out of play. I would be surprised, and again, I don't have great familiarity with those price tags at the moment, that price was particularly ideal on a slate of this size, but he can get you 40. Projection for DeJounte. He does not project terribly brilliantly for me. He's good. I would have him, I would rather get to Ja, for example. So I have DeJounte Murray on DraftKings for 46.5 fantasy points. And I have Ja for 51.
Yeah. I have 49.5 for DeJounte, 49 for Ja.
Let's put it on the board. Let's put it on the board straight up. I'll take Ja.
If Bane is in, I'm taking that bet. If he's out, I'm not.
Really? I guess. Okay. I'll give you a couple points.
Guys had like a 39% usage the last 2 games with him out.
That's fair. Ball of priority running, one line in a single entry. A priority is a weird sentence. I don't know how many guys count as a priority. He's one of the plays I like most on the slate. Even points per dollar, he makes a ton of sense. I really like LaMelo. A priority, you don't need to have him in one lineup. He's not a must. He's not anywhere near a must. He's going to be 20 whatever percent owned. He probably should be more than that. I think he looks really good. He's probably my favorite play at 7 points per dollar, all that.
I would prioritize the 2 values there over LaMelo if I had to get one in. And I think I would play. I would try to play a Hornet here.
Yeah, I like getting to one. I would take over 1/2 Hornets in the best possible lineup tonight. I like getting to a Hornet. I don't hate getting to 2 if one of them's like the value guy. I don't hate running it back with LeVert.
Sure. Thoughts on the Cole Anthony and Suggs situation?
At this point, they're Anthony is now a little overpriced. There's been a real, lack of usage. You have everyone back also tonight. Harris is in and Ross is in. So like even there's a minutes thing. Like I'm not trying to get to any of those guys. Clippers defense is really bad. You make me play one of those guys, I'm gonna play Suggs right now. But it's nice. You're also gonna get Markelle Fultz in like days. In a related story.
Really, I did not know that.
Oh, we're close. I think.
Love it.
Maybe I got to recheck my ship. But Markelle Fultz is soon. Apparently we're never gonna see John Isaac again, which sucks. I love me some goddamn John Isaac. But I gotta go full. We're under a minute. I gotta go full news tanker. Thoughts on Portland value? I will give you my thoughts on Portland value in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Anything we can.
Yeah, going to be an interesting discussion there after lock to talk about the Blazers with no Nas Little, no Nance, no Zeller, no Bob Cove. Which is, I assume, one of the main reasons why Nurk Daddy projects so well for you.
Yeah. Couple extra minutes. I mean, all their backup centers are absent.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Watford.
There you go. Right at lock. Fox ruled out.
Well, no Davis either, so that's going to be interesting. So, Burton. Right back to our boy Halliburton. Okay, where did we end up on? I think everyone was in for the Hawks, right?
Yes.
Literally everyone. TLC was in, Bogdanovich was in, Hunter was in, right?
Yeah. How do you feel about Trey with all those guys? And the Heat will start Butler, Vincent, Robinson, Tucker, Adebayo, so no surprises there.
Well, we got just 2 7:30 games, I think, and one of them is pretty garbage. So let us turn our attention to Sacramento and Atlanta.
Yeah, so now let me get Fox out of the ranks, had him in there.
Yep.
No Terrence Davis out indefinitely.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
And yep.
Let's see, DK Price, Hallie 7'5", Buddy Hield 6'4", Harry B 6'3". Then you're gonna have Davion Mitchell 4'4".
Yeah, Mitchell's the one. So they're gonna push Mitchell into the starting lineup and have him sit on Trey. So Mitchell now makes some amount of sense. They'll start. I think they start him. You know what? This is going to change my rotation from like 3 minutes to 6 minutes for Persquisius McStuffins too.
Oh,
just kidding. Fourth center. Thoughts on Dana not giving Francis the belt? Yeah, they're apparently in a legal squabble. I don't know.
Why? That's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, they have a kerfuffle.
Dana White being a douche. I'm shocked.
Sorry for the dead air, everyone. I'm trying to figure out both Brooklyn and Sacramento and Atlanta.
So there you go. It is Davion Mitchell, Halliburton, Barnes.
Did they announce it?
Yes.
Okay, good. Then I don't have to redo this. I have that right. Sound 34. Mitchell up to 30 minutes for me. Mitchell's in play now. Hawks defense has been really, really fugly. So start. Holmes is very much in play too. I mean, having Capella there limits it a little bit, but 4-5 is 4-5 for all the really good.
I think we had this question earlier, but I think it's good to bring back up just in that price range. Would you rather Holmes at 4-5 or Steven Adams at the same price?
I'd probably rather Steven Adams. I know I have him projected better. It's probably going to be owned less. So yeah, it would be Steven Adams. Pretty straightforward. Is it Persqueezius or Persnezius?
Persquezius.
Persquezius. So
Yeah.
right
And Precious Achua is the big sneeze.
Yeah. Yeah, we could start calling Precious Achua Persnezius just in case Namitas Keita doesn't end up having a long career. I don't want that excellent nickname to be wasted. Yeah. All right, Sacramento first. And Atlanta by extension. Then into Brooklyn and Toronto. That will be our order of operations.
All righty. Yeah, no Raps news yet. No Cam will drop that in the chat when we do get it.
This is why I leave all this stuff to like Kyle and you and whatever. Like I do all my shit individually, so like I have to reproject out the whole game as to like who's guarding who everywhere, and it's forever and it's dead air, and it's hard enough for me to be charming or personable when I'm not doing this.
Yeah, I'm just talking like the least amount I have to, given my propensity for just randomly saying beat off, get off, etc. Did you see the clip from yesterday?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Just like getting off the air, randomly said, I'm going to get off here. David gave me a look. We had to, hash it out. You can go to David's Twitter and see it. Chapter 3 of that saga, which I'm not a big fan of, but I'm sure will continue to happen since I will continue to talk. Points per dollar. Would you Rashawn Holmes at 4.5 or Bismack Biyombo at, 5.5? Yeah, 5.5.
So I have Steven Adams for 3/4 of a point more than Rashawn Holmes. So they're pretty nominal difference there. But I think Holmes is owned like 14, 15%. I think Steven Adams is 9, 10. And then you're saying versus Biyombo. I have Biyombo for like 32. I'm pretty ambitious on Biyombo in this spot. It's a really good spot. I don't think people like sort of get that. It's actually like a really good spot. Yeah, I have 31 minutes and 31 fantasy points for Biyombo. On the nose, ironically enough. I have him as the best of them, but barely. All three of those guys are in the same bucket. Persquezius McStuffins.
It'd be interesting too if Harden ends up in. You think his ownership has now come down significantly? People just planning for him to sit?
Yeah, I guess you'll have, like, off the top of my head, I said he'd retain an amount, and I probably didn't want him, but I've run that decision over in my head.
Herm says, bite your tongue.
When Rybut says, hope Harden isn't out?
I don't know if he was responding to Rybut's or to me bringing it up, but yeah.
I think he was responding to Rybut's there, but sorry, I'm doing three things. There's
let's see. I can take a look at this ownership too. What gives DraftKings? Took 50,000 off the prize pool here. There's no football tonight.
What's the prize pool?
350, 100 up top. It was 400 the last 2 days.
Yeah. What is it, Wednesday? Yeah, it's always weird.
Oh boy.
Maxa Kleba. Yeah, for sure.
You want to take a guess or just want me to read these out?
The 7 p.m. games?
Yeah. So Hawks will start Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, and Clint Capella.
Yeah, as expected. Do I want to take a guess? who's going to be popular than like people will get back to Kennard, but not enough to get. So Ball will be low 20s, and I like him more than that. Is anyone going to get on top of that? Well, nobody on Orlando will with Bamba in. Nobody on Cleveland or Milwaukee. It's Terrence Mann. Terrence Mann's pretty good. I'll go Terrence Mann getting the highest.
Terrence Mann, number 1.
29.
40.
40.
40.
Like, I liked him, but 40. God damn.
Yeah.
Barton in, so my Monty Morris bet is off the board.
Shucks.
You should be happy you got away from that one.
Nah, that was gonna be me.
The Harden thing is. Then LaMelo 22, I think I had.
LaMelo number 2 at 28.
Harden I would have liked. What do we have left? Maybe your boy? Sure, PJ Washington.
PJ number 5. These are close though here.
Martin.
Yeah, Martin number 3.
And then Suggs in between.
Yeah, Suggs in between.
Yeah, I like a bit more than I would have. Like, there's just enough variability there. It's a fine matchup. He's had some good games. He looks good. But again, that price at early at lock, like, it just doesn't quite get enough for me. It's not that much of a deal relative to Washington or Martin. So what bets did we actually get on the board? Washington over under 30 minutes. Is that it?
We have Morant versus Murray pending Bane news.
All right. I was trying to do Sacramento, and people kept interrupting me.
As Eddie finishes that up, read off the top 5. Karis LeVert's number 6 at 12.5, 12% Franz Wagner. Then Luke Kennard all the way down at 10%, which I think is right exactly where Kyle had him. So again, the brilliance of Kyle Murray shining through. 7.5% Dean Wade is a bit much for me on this slate, but nothing crazy there. Ja available to play. I had no idea he had a personal issue that had him on the injury report.
He was supposed to go the whole time, so that's
Brandon Clark game time. I assume we're going to get Bane game time here.
Word. Lovely voice. Tell us that Davion Mitchell looks amazing so I can feel good about this. I really like him tonight. I have him up to 30 minutes now. I mentioned him twice before they announced he was starting, and then they did what I expected. He won't be terribly owned. I'm absolutely fine getting there. I now prefer him to say Kennard at much lower ownership. What did Kennard come in on? 10, 11, 12?
10. Right on Kyle's number there.
Yeah, I think that was my number 2. Oh, no, I said higher. I'm sorry, I said higher. I said I thought he got 13 or 14. Yeah. Nice job, Kyle. I tip my cap to you, sir. So Sacramento, I have redone. Unsurprisingly, Halliburton is the best play I have here. I now have 37 minutes and 42.5 fantasy points. That is very good for $7,500. That is the exact same projection as Nurkic at a more fluid position with point and shooting guard eligibility for $200 less. And I told you how much I like Nurkic. So Tyrese now cracking into my top 5 plays on the slate. Rashawn Holmes still looks very, very good. It was worth a minute and a little extra usage for him. I have him up to 26 minutes, 28.25 fantasy points. Looks very good. I have Davion Mitchell at 30 minutes and 23.75 fantasy points. That's fine. My socks are not rolling up and down. Other than that, you can play Bagley. I don't think it's a priority. You can play Barnes. I don't think it's a priority either. I would rather play Barnes than Bagley, but past that, no one looks particularly great. Mitchell or Monty Morris on DK. It'd be Mitchell for me now. Before it would have been Monty Morris. If Barton was out, it made a real difference for me, especially in that matchup. Harden being in or out is going to make projecting that one a little interesting for me. But at this point, I would probably rather play Davion Mitchell.
Bogdan will be limited to about 20 to 24 minutes tonight off the bench for the Hawks.
Okay.
I just wanted to touch a little bit more. You said you had Davion for 30 minutes. Do you have like Ramsey or King in the rotation here?
I have Ramsey for 14.
Okay, gotcha. Let's see.
And 4 for Persquizzies.
Well, so this is a timely question here from Romulus. Would you Davion Mitchell or Monte Morris now?
I just answered that question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
that's okay. You were concentrating on something else, but I got to that one.
Yeah. Who's a good stud to pivot to if Harden is out?
There are several, but
let's see. You lost Giannis already.
In order of guys who haven't started yet, as to whatever you want to call a stud, we'll call it 8K or higher.
Sure.
So the order of the guys, I'll put Tyrese Halliburton in there. So the order of guys who haven't locked yet and how important I think they're to get to is I would have Halliburton, then Nurkic, then Morant, then now Jokic for me, who's sitting on a lowered expectation because of that, still fine. Doncic, Levine, someone we can certainly talk about. Again, a lot up in the air in the Chicago-Toronto game, so we need to see what's going on there. So those are the studs in the order that I would get to them. Again, if guys go out, Pascal Siakam would shoot way up there. Jimmy Butler is in here too. Then I would get to Trey. Then I would get to DeRozan and so on and so forth. How many minutes do we think Aldridge plays? At this point, I think I had him for 29. 31 is a bit for my blood. I would take under 30 on Aldridge, but a lot.
Next, we'll start Kemba, Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitch Robinson. So no surprises from Tibbs.
As expected. Okay, so if anyone has any other Sacramento player questions, we can get into them. But so I reprojected the team, and again, I would list Halliburton as a priority. Probably not enough people will get there, and he ranks extremely well. Holmes and Mitchell as very playable guys, and then Barnes, Bagley, and Hield as guys you can take a shot at in a GPP. Full stop. That would be my expensive. Who's my favorite 4K left? My favorite player in any position on DraftKings who costs $4,000 or less. Favorite's an interesting question. For the moment, I'm going to answer that question as best projecting, but I understand what you're asking. Goga hot start. I'm wondering if it's an actual hot start. I like Goga a lot. Like he should smash here. I'm kind of curious if he's being facetious or not. Let's see. My best 4K is new rankings.
Goga 3 turnovers and a foul in 3 minutes.
So no. Got it. What you're saying is he's giving some shit there. 4K or less. Yeah, once you get past Terrence Mann, there's no other 4Ks. Next would be Cody Martin playing at it's going to be a net. You're going to have to give me a minute on this. It's probably going to be Bembry, believe it or not. But
so Adam just said in the chat, if Harden's out, he finds himself plugging in Bembry the most.
Yeah, he's 3,400 is going to play probably. Now, they could go full kid school. That would be weird. And they barely have the staff to do it. But all right. So
one team we didn't really touch on, the other side of that Toronto game, the Bulls. Still no Alonzo, no Caruso, obviously Cook and Vooch in, but pretty big price drop on DeMar DeRozan. Zach LaVine as well, 8-2 for DDR, 8-3 for LaVine. LaVine, who was not supposed to, I don't think, exceed 30 minutes last game, played 35 in his return.
No back-to-back for them either.
Right.
It's really, really relevant when you're looking at like LaVine in this situation.
Those guys are going to be under-owned, I think.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. There's obviously a lot of uncertainty going here with this game now with who Toronto is going to roll, and that has a big effect on what their defense looks like.
Fred, Scotty Barnes, and Harden all listed as active.
That
from Josh Lloyd.
Yeah, so I like Josh. That would be weird for me if he had Nets and Raptors information ahead of my sources concurrently. Not impossible. And again, it's like 5 a.m. wherever dude's sitting. But yeah, nice job there, Josh. All right, so maybe got hacked or something. Like I don't want to give Josh shit. I like Josh.
Oh shit! I just saw the Harden is out. I was answering a DM.
Yeah, I'm like, man, like that was weird for me. That like he might have got hacked.
Oh man.
Okay, so now I can do the Nets with a little more. No, it seems like Josh wishes he was Eddie Fear. I wouldn't go that far. He's aging like me. Yeah, left hamstring. Yeah, you just have to. You have to be careful when you're. I mean, it's not going to matter here, but there's times it happens like once a year where someone says something like that 3 minutes before lock, and like you have to be really careful where you take sources. I would not put this. That is again. I'm assuming Josh wasn't hacked, which would not. That is odd for me because the tweet which you referenced there is oddly circumspect and brief for Josh. He tends to be a little bit more verbose as well. So that's I would not impugn his name too much. That tweet is obviously the fuck off. We'll see if he follows up with something else. Is Mills a good play with or without Harden? Okay, well, Harden is out. He was fine with Harden. Without Harden, he's going to look. Harden was listed active, but he will not play. Right. So okay, like I will say that the appropriate criticism of Josh here is not fully contextualizing his comment. He accurately stated listed as active. That's fine. He, I assume, is looking at an injury report that again they usually hit on the half hours. So even that's a little weird, but whatever. He looked at a document somewhere and saw it listed as active and just put out that tweet. Absent context, it's still a bad tweet. You still want to tweet. No specific indication from the teams that they will start and or play. You need to follow that up. Otherwise, you can screw someone pretty good. All right. So will I wait for the lineup or shall I prognosticate the lineup? He did post that at 4:20. Maybe he is playing. Oh, that's cute. So it was 4:20 Pacific. It's 13 hours behind. I think it's 6:30 in the morning in Australia where Josh lives. Maybe the Raptors thing is real news. You're going to disregard the entire tweet. It is 7:22. I'm going to take 30 seconds and reload my energy drink. This has been the 6th one of the day. It's been a day. Monty, you take it from here.
Let's see, Bembry or Mills. I mean, if the salary doesn't matter, I'm taking Patty there. Ant. Plays and trails. Pivot to Buddy from Gary Trent with the news. I assume those guys are closer in price. That's a FanDuel question.
You and I both had them playing, so it wouldn't shock me if both those Raptors were in fact in. So yeah, I like pivoting to Buddy as an example, or Mills.
Well, that's the FanDuel specific question. Buddy's only $200 above Trent. DraftKings, I'm sticking with Gary there.
Okay. So they're gonna start. Mills, Edwards. Okay, I'm close now.
Okay. Conchar and Kessler, or Mills and Bembry. It's the
Mills
second
and
one.
Bembry.
Yeah, easy.
Mills or Bembry. If you're telling me I can only play one of those players, I'm a little more excited to play Bembry. That is presuming we will get the start.
Fred out, Scotty in.
We're really hitting it out of the park here. All right. Okay, that's also an 8 p.m. though. So I'm
yeah.
Okay. So all right. So Atlanta, Trey is very much in play now. This helps him out a little bit. Davion's gonna sit on him, but it's still not a matchup he can't beat. He's gonna be 6% owned. That's absolutely fine. So feel free to have some Trey. With everyone else back in, I don't think there's a need to mess around with it. Okongwu looks real good with the second unit, so while the matchup is great for Capella, he's not going to play more than like 28 minutes the rest of the damn year. So Fred being out is really interesting. The Nets don't even have 13 available guys. I think you have 10, 9, 10. Brooklyn, active guys without Harden. They'll have Aldridge, Edwards, Bembry, Mills, Brown, Nectat, Blake, Cam.
Javon.
That's 9.
That's it, right? Because Duke is down.
That may be it, because I think Duke is in the mucking with the G. He's in the G League. Okay, I think I have Nets, I believe.
He's got Nets.
I know how to use them. All right, so who's going to start?
It's going to be Scotty in for Boucher, right, in the Raptors lineup?
Yep. Doesn't hurt Boucher that much, and you can still play him. He's very much in play at that price. Even it's the difference between 31 and 27 minutes or whatever. But all right, so let's do Brooklyn first. I think they will start. All right, so they're going to start Aldridge, Bembry, Edwards, and Mills. They will then either start Cam Johnson, Bruce Brown, or James Johnson. Those are the other options. There are 9 players on the team. The players I don't want to play are Javon and Blake. I would have 0 Blake Griffin and Javon. Precious Achiuwa is starting there. I would play no Javon Carter, who I have for 13 minutes. I would play no Blake Griffin, who I have for 17 minutes. Okay. Everyone else ranks as a good to great play. Specifically, Cam Thompson ranks as pretty good at 3,500. He is my number 17 overall play on the slate. He's one of the best value plays left if you ignore the other Nets. But my top... I'll make sure I got this. My top 6 remaining plays on the slate are Nets. It's Aldridge, Brown, Bembry, Johnson, Edwards, and Mills are the literally of players who have not started yet. They are my favorite 6 players. Then you get Halliburton in 3 minutes. Ball's already started. Then you get into so I'm probably trying to get myself onto 3 Nets. So anything else for 7:30? I don't know if there is. I don't think
not for me. But
I like getting to Halliburton. Feel free to make that happen.
It's a question with a 7:30 guy in it. Butler or Siakam for you?
Siakam.
I agree. Della wants to know if you can list those Nets again. A little Nets recap.
I'm working on getting the order. I'm still futzing with the order, and I'd like to see the starters, but they are. I'm working on moving 2 minutes either way and changing a rate by 0.03 either way. But Mills, Edwards, Bembry, Brown, Aldridge, and James Johnson are all going to rank as my top 6 remaining plays on the slate by almost any mechanism. By any mechanism, actually. It would be really something else would have to change for those not to be my guys. So James Johnson, LaMarcus Aldridge, Bruce Brown, DeAndre Bembry, Kessler Edwards, Patty Mills. I want 2. I'm fine with 3. I don't hate 4. Have 1. Yeah. Like there's just too many minutes to go around. So like something really weird needs to happen. Biyombo, Whiteside, or Triple J? At the moment, it'd be Biyombo for me. How much is too much Jokic across 150? I don't think this was good news for Jokic. You can argue that, and he's not a real issue with foul trouble, and the refs seem to really, he does not get called for a lot of fouls. Doesn't get a lot of fouls either, by the way, but. Was not mentioning Cam Thomas first of all. I did mention him. I said he was the one who is in play, who is not. I think he's 19th on that list. So literally, I have my best 6 plays are the other Nets. Then I have a variety of other guys in other places, and then you get down to Cam, who's very much in play for me. I like Cam Thomas quite a bit. I have Cam Thomas at 28 minutes and 23 fantasy points on the nose at 3,500. That's a very good play. But yeah, and again, give me a minute to mess with that number because I really want starters. James Johnson or Cam Thomas. I have James Johnson for 5 more fantasy points. I think James Johnson. Give me. All right, so we're gonna get to lock. Let me get that. Sorry, I just want to. I'm trying not to overstate here. But like, yeah, everyone's gonna have infinite turns, man. Favorite net. They're asking you, which is good because I don't know yet.
Triple H on FanDuel, so I'll have to look over there. Again, not as familiar with.
Can you repeat your NECTAT projection minutes? I think it's going to change in a minute. Right now, my NECTAT is 26.5 minutes, 28.25 fantasy points. That will be give or take 2 with where I end, I expect. Now, there is a fair amount of, I don't expect the ownership to be that high on him either. I don't think none of these guys will be as owned as they should be. The most owned player on this team will be Mills than Aldridge. I'm struggling. I'm trying to source all this, but I'm trying to get the rotation first, and then I'll get into the ownership, and then I got to get over to the Raptors. You have PJ Washington over 30 minutes, right?
Yeah, what has he played 3 minutes so far?
He hasn't played yet.
What?
9 minutes in. Has not stepped on the court.
Okay, that's not correct. I thought they would have been a little further along now.
They're almost 10 minutes in. So if he checks in right now and plays the rest of the first half, that'll be 14 minutes and 21 seconds.
Be okay. Rashawn Holmes had 4 minutes with 8 minutes to go in the first half the other day, and he got 8.
There it is. Mills, Bembry, Edwards. They did give it to NECTAT and Aldridge. Okay, good. Now I can lock this up. Bulls will start December Levine, DeRozan, Javonte, and Vooch. That's expected. Kruger's just said he's played 3 minutes. Am I?
Did you read the Bulls lineup? Desumu, Levine, DeRozan, Green, Vooch.
I did. Morris will start. Expected starters for. I don't show PJ Washington as having entered the game. So
you still want the DeJounte Morant bet with Bane in?
Yes, we'll still take it. Put it on the board. Clark in as well, by the way, if you're looking for all the reasons to doubt my guy. Washington.
It's a nice night.
Washington has played 4 minutes. I am looking at the I will. Here is my. I'm assuming my shit is not updating for some reason. So
it's the bench guys are not updated, but
the ESPN box is not updating, but they're in. Okay, that makes it was weird for me, but you can see Plumlee and Ball came out. Plumlee came out after 6 minutes. Someone has to have entered the game. So no, it's right there. I randomly ESPN had that was the page I had up. So
it's
fucking up. ESPN's pissing itself for whatever reason. Problem solved. Miles Bridges, by the way, getting there so far. LaMelo, a little disappointing. He'll turn it around. 2, 3, and 1. Only played 7 minutes.
Just came back in, yeah.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Okay. Now I can do the Nets up proper.
We did pass that 7:30 log.
Yeah. I will put a stake in this, and you can finish. Yeah, we're aware. Thank you, Phil. That's he's having a little funny there. Anyone know if PJ Washington has played? Yeah, I gotcha. I get it. It's funny. Very funny. Has he scored anything?
It doesn't sound like he's done much.
Has he scored anything?
Good thing the bet was minutes for me. Unfortunate for those who rostered him, which I was very high on doing.
Wow.
Wow.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa.
What happened?
There's a woman in the chat. Okay.
Why are we? That's PJ Washington's.
Bay. Is that PJ Washington's special friend?
Well, isn't that the girl where they had the whole thing? I don't actually know what went on, but there was some issues between the two, I believe.
That's bad. She's had a baby. She's doing all right. Okay.
I blame her too, Tyreek.
I blame all of you.
Luka or Jokic straight up now?
I need more description on what straight up means exactly in this context. Like raw points, how much I like them versus their prices, which are somewhat disparate. What site? So I need further context because it's going to depend on a couple variables. You got to tell me there.
On you, Easy B.
Okay. If you're curious, I've updated my rankings and that bumped Pascal Siakam all the way up to 3rd place on my ranks now. 4th place rather. Okay, I think I've got my Nets 90% done, but Siakam is breaking up the Nets hegemony on the starting list of dudes who are emerging.
The dudes are emerging.
They are.
I'm a rooster illusion.
I'm a rooster illusion. Fuck it. Okay. Christ. Job is stressful sometimes.
Apparently, Lance making him dance to the tune of 7 first quarter assists.
Guy has had some impressive quarters. If you took his 4 best quarters of this year, he would have like a 40, 30, 20 game. Remember, he had the 20-point quarter and the
forever immortalized in his Top Shot debut.
I've got it.
Back 3 at the end of that quarter.
Crack that out of a pack. I got it.
Oh, good point by HB Cards bringing this back up. The Portland value, real quick, before we get to this 8 p.m. lock, because we did promise that about 40 minutes ago.
Okay. It's not near as good, but I will give you my best take on the Portland value.
It's more Nurkic than CJ for me.
Nurkic for me, more CJ. CJ is fine. I'm not saying he will not be very owned. The matchup with Dallas is not particularly good. CJ is going to get a lot of defensive attention. He gets a lot of Dorian Finney-Smith. He gets it's not a brilliant CJ spot. I would much rather play the Dallas guys against the Civ of Portland defense. Value guys for Portland. I have none of them being remotely close to as good as they would need to be here. My best one is Ben McLemore, as slightly better than Trendon Watford. Both of whom are in play. But the matchup is not great. It's going to play really slow. I think all the studs are fine. You can play Nurkic. You can play Simons. You can play McCollum. Those guys are fine. The value, I just have them all getting like 20, 18. I have Dennis Smith Jr. at 14 minutes, Tony Snell at 21 minutes, CJ Ellaby at 18 minutes, Trendon Watford at 19 minutes, and Ben McLemore at 24 and a half. That just doesn't do it when you're looking at them in a very difficult matchup against the Nets in a far better matchup where those guys are going to play at least 28, if not 34 minutes. Like you need to want it. I would probably play Watford if you had a center spot. So there's my Portland value question. Thoughts on Porzingis tonight? There's some chance that Luka doesn't suit up. I know no one else is talking about that. I don't think it's likely, but Porzingis, they're on a back-to-back. Porzingis played shit yesterday because he got boot. Maybe that's like 25 minutes. He got the boot yesterday. He did not play enough minutes that he couldn't play 35 tonight. Luka hurt his ankle, the same ankle, by the way, like we were talking with Hornets, his right ankle on Luka that he injured again. Hardaway is out. So having space for Brunson hypothetically has huge upside in the matchup for Porzingis is fine, even if Luka is in 100%. So I'm a big fan of getting to Porzingis in GPPs. He will be under-owned. A lot of people with that much money are turning it into Siakam, Halliburton, like any number of ways that went. So I like Porzingis. Absolutely think that's fun to get to in a GPP. Edwards, Johnson, Biombo, or Bembry, Nektat, Nurkic. No, or Bembry, Nektat, Nurkic. Nektat is James Johnson, by the way, for those of you who don't know. We get that question like once a month. I am going to have... Those are both really good teams.
Mm-hmm.
Kroger's, that's close enough that it's not worth me spending 2 minutes to math it out and tell you what I have projected slightly higher. I have all 6 of those players projected at like in the top 12 guys left on the slate. So yes, for me at that point, it comes down to, is there other correlation with players? Are you telling a story with your line? Like that's going to be close enough that answering your question would be Siakam and Cam Johnson, or Ja and Nektat. For similarly, again, all 4 of those players rank extremely high for me at this point. You have 3 other nets, so that could put... Yeah, if you have 3 other nets, then yes, rather than adding Nektat as a 4th, who's going to be one of the most popular nets.
Mm-hmm.
Levert, woof, someone is saying. So apparently that didn't work.
It's got to be Triple H. He got 2 fouls. He's fine. Not ideal, but he'll be fine.
Yeah, at the flip a damn coin, or in all honesty, split the lineup and split your exposure if you're entering it in contests that make that a reasonable possibility. Does negative correlation not apply in this Brooklyn situation, or would there be any fellas you wouldn't want to play together? Like, it isn't irrelevant. Like, it would affect exposures for me. There's no one I would be like, I don't want to play. Like, the 2 players here who I want to play together the least because of negative correlation would be, like, I guess, like, I don't want to play Blake anyway. I said I put him on my no play list, so it almost doesn't apply. But it'd be something like Bembry and Brown, maybe. But they cost 3,200 and 3,400. Like, they could each play 24 minutes, and because Bembry played yesterday, they could just sub Brown straight, which I don't think is likely, by the way. But yeah, they all look ridiculously good. Morant or Murray is Morant for me, and Murray for... We have a bet on the board, so it's Morant for me. It is DeJounte Murray for my erstwhile colleague here. Okay. Specific numbers. I have James Johnson now at 27.5 minutes and 28 3/4 DK points as nominally the best ranked of these guys. I have LaMarcus Aldridge versus price expectancy second on this list. I have him at 27 minutes and 35 3/4 fantasy points. I have Bembry third on this list at 33 minutes and 26 3/4 fantasy points. I have Patty Mills. I have Mills, Edwards, and Brown all basically tied after this reference. All these guys rank incredibly well. I have Brown for 28 minutes and 25 1/4 fantasy points. I have Kessler Edwards for 34.5 minutes and 28 1/4 fantasy points, and Patty Mills for 33.5 minutes and 30 1/4 fantasy points. Obviously, Brown is the cheapest. So there's some fun things you can do with Bruce Brown there, simply because he's the cheapest, and he will correlate negatively with Bembry very slightly. I mean, they cost so little, I really don't care. But his minutes are the most variable here. You getting 32 minutes of Bruce Brown wouldn't surprise me. You getting 18 minutes of Bruce Brown really wouldn't surprise me, where they just play more other guys. So Aldridge over Biyombo. I have Aldridge now projected well better than Bismack Biyombo. Yes. I mean, by well better, I have him like 4 fantasy points more. Like, I have Biyombo 31 and some change, and I have Aldridge at 35 and some change, I think. So, yes, I have him projected better, but he's going to be owned more probably. Like, people will make that a priority to get to him. So, so that is where I ended for exact figures. I feel fairly good about it. There was enough precedent to... And now I'm on to the Raptors, where I'm going to have an infinite amount of Cam Thomas thoughts. Cam Thomas is, I would rather play Bruce Brown because the reason to play Cam Thomas is that he's lower owned and has nice leverage across these guys. So he is coming in off the second bench on the unit. Numbers on Cam Thomas ended up with being 27 minutes and 22 3/4 fantasy points. That's very good for 3,500. He is a slight tier under the other guys we were just talking about. I would probably rather run Bruce Brown, but it's very close. But he's in that tier of guys who will be on far less because they aren't known as much. A lot of people are going to land on Bembry instead and James Johnson instead. So nuclear for Mitchell, good. We talked him up a lot. So good. I'm now working on the Raptors. O'Shea Brissett with 2 fouls in 3 minutes. Should not have played him. Yeah, LeVert had 2 fouls in 5 minutes after getting like 5 fantasy points. So like he didn't play really.
Yeah.
Odds 3 turnovers with 7 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist in 9 minutes. Like, how you getting there?
It is early.
There's only 1% on Davian. I like it. I mean, it's an amazing value slate, and the guy's not a fantasy producer. It should not be much more than that.
He hit 3 shots and an assist in 4 minutes. Hot start.
LaMelo is going to get his triple-double probably, 5, 4, and 2 in 10 minutes. Obviously, the 2 somewhat suspect, but you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Toronto. Let's see what we're going to get here with Scotland in and Freddie. It's almost, I can't imagine why he'd get a sore knee. What would have happened that would cause his knee to hurt him? Maybe he was playing a lot. Biombo or LaMarcus Aldridge now? It's going to depend on if I have already 2 nets, that's probably enough for me to play Biombo. If I have 3 nets, it's Biombo. If I have only 1 net, it's Aldridge. Like if you have exactly 2 other nets, that would make it trickier for me because 2 is the number of nets I want, I think. I don't mind 3. If I have 1 other net, I'll play Aldridge. If I have 2 other nets, I don't know. If I have 3 other nets, then I'm going to play Biombo. So I'll start that. And also Biombo is saving you some more time you get to wait. Goga doing nothing. I don't think he was doing that bad. Doesn't he have 10 fantasy points in 10 minutes? Like I'm not really.
He's fine. Terrence Mann, by the way, 40% owned, 3.5 DK points in his 8 minutes, 6.5 to go in the first half.
Not great,
3-7, but yeah, on the slate.
Yeah,
not great. Adam says Holmes in all caps. Maybe a little dunk there. I don't know. Is he 4 points? Okay, yeah, 4 points, 2 boards, assist, and a block in his 5.5 minutes. Good start for him as well. Davion hits his 4th shot.
Nice. If he's making his buckets, he ain't going to take a lot. He's going to take 11 shots, give or take 2. But Nurk and Mills, or Biombo and OG, I have 2 other nets in the lineup.
I think I still lean the first one.
I still lean the first one. Like OG is obviously looked fine yesterday. Everyone. Sorry, I'm trying to figure this out now. All right, so OG will start. Them announcing that they're spreading the thing around a bit makes this really interesting. Like Siakam, I'm really excited to get to. OG, Barnes, Trent, Boucher, Achua, I'm fine to get to. So Siakam is some sort of priority for me. Siakam right now I have at 38 minutes. That's pretty conservative, and 47.5 fantasy points. Really strong matchup. Forward eligible, which is doing a lot of stuff for you. So OG I have at 39 minutes and 36.25 fantasy points. That's fine. Probably gets a fair bit of Javante. Check the rotations on Anunoby. Start on Pascal.
I will say this, Eddie, as you're perusing your stuff there. Your sheets. I noticed that we got a good amount of questions in the YouTube chat today. And so for those of you that are catching us for free on the YouTube,
that's fine.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
That's fine.
But you cannot get your questions answered in the YouTube chat. We don't look there.
And I'm gonna tell you why, because we're too lazy. I have 4 monitors hooked up on this thing. I could have a YouTube chat box.
Sure.
And sure, it's because we want your money. Let's be honest. We're greedy.
Mm-hmm.
We're greedy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's mostly that we're lazy.
Sure.
I'm just saying I would rather be accused of laziness than avarice.
Sure.
If you've seen the seminal film 7 by David Fincher, I would be much more sloth tied in my bed for a year than greedy, the lawyer. And I'll shut up now and get back to you on the Raptors. I'm just having some fun here. Okay.
Well, again, if you guys are still tuned in, you can get your questions answered by Eddie, and I guess by me if you desire. But I think people are here on Wednesdays for the man on the marquee. So to get into that premium Discord channel, you can subscribe to FTN Daily's NBA package. It's $49.99 per month, but that promo code scrolling right by Eddie's noggin there, FTN TV, all one word. That gets you 15% off that first month. And that's going to get you access to not just the premium Discord chat. That's going to get you access to the optimizer that has late swap capabilities. It's going to get you access to all the tools here. We've got, your typical industry tools, your on-off splits, etc. But then you're going to get access to the tools that are unique to FTN, such as, Alex Blickel's game environment tool. Stefano's advanced EVP tool. That's one of my favorites. You get access to Kyle's proprietary player and ownership projections. You get access to Eddie and mine's rankings. All that stuff every single day for every slate here at FTN Daily. Again, you can use that promo code FTNTV, all one word, 15% off that first month. And then if you stick with us past the first month, that 15% is applied every month to your subscription through the end of the NBA Finals. So pretty good deal there. Not just a 1-month discount. That's going to get you the 15% off for the rest of the season. So come try us out for that month, and then when you do, get in that Discord, tag Eddie, tag myself, let us know that you're here because we would love to have you. And that being said, it's okay if you want to keep freeloading, but if that's what you're going to do, go ahead and give us a like there. I still 75 people tuned in here, Eddie, 51 minutes after the slate lock. That's pretty nice. 42 likes on the YouTube there. Let's get it up over 50. We're not doing crazy numbers, but a number nonetheless.
I miss begging for likes. I spent a couple of years doing that. And it's a smaller crowd here. We're a family.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, man, someone has to get to Kawhi Eisenberg on actual commercials with these marketing pitch skills. Yeah, I believe it. And I unlike you, I know he's full of shit. I know we get off the air and he's fucking Barry Bonds. He's not Big Poppy. We get off the air and he's like, oh, those fucking people with this job would be great if it wasn't for the listeners. He's an asshole, but I believe it because he sells so well. It's really impressive.
Yeah. I do nothing but talk shit about all of you when the cameras are off. That's for sure.
Just makes mean gifs and 21st century taunting.
Yeah. Delo saying, would we want Ja, DeJounte, or Siakam? I think for me, it's Siakam, getting the savings there on DK, especially with now that he's got
I have them all projected very close, and one of them costs $1,000 less.
Sure.
If $1,000 does nothing for you, it's still Ja for me. Just raw points, I'll take Ja there.
Would you Funaki or Cam Thomas? Different price points, different positions. I assume that's a utility question.
Completely absent, setting aside that I would rather have a net than either one significantly. To be clear, but if you have 2 nets already,
I think he is. Sorry, I said Cam Thomas. I think he does mean Cam Johnson.
Okay, well, that's what I'm wondering if we're talking.
Yeah, that's what you. Yeah, sorry,
I didn't. Right. Sorry, Cam Thompson or Cam Johnson was the question. Okay, what's the question again?
Yeah, Cam Johnson or Steven Adams. And N6A, let me know if you are talking about Cam Thomas, but I do think it's Johnson.
Yeah, I have a feeling that would make more sense pricing. If you have at least 2 nets, the answer there for me would be Cam Johnson. Otherwise, I want to get to a net, to be clear. But it's me, Cam Johnson over Funaki almost entirely. You would need some weird correlation for that not to be the case. I haven't projected for like 2 more fantasy points. They're both good. But Buddy Healed peripherals, look out. Yeah.
T Panthers asking large field tournament 2v2 Ja and Nurkic or DeJounte and Siakam. It's a very good one. He's got Mills, Bembry, and Kessler Edwards in the lineup with Jimmy and PJ Washington currently locked in. So again,
I would take DeJounte and Siakam there.
Yeah, I agree. But two good pairings there.
Yeah, I have no issues with any of it, to be sure.
Brunson or Patty Mills? Brunson, the Mavericks, without Tim Hardaway Jr. breaking his foot last night, unfortunately.
Yes. If you have 2 other nets, I mean, it sounds reductive, and I apologize. If you have 2 other nets, or even if you have Aldridge, but it's probably if you have 2 other nets, I would then at that point be perfectly comfortable leaving the money off for Brunson or what have you as the evening progresses.
That's a FanDuel question there. Patty 5'2", Brunson 5'4" for what it's worth.
Kings putting a whoop down.
Nurk and Mills or McCollum and Aldridge. He's got Bembry and
3 fouls on Cody Martin. So you may backdoor some bullshit to PJ Washington minutes.
How do you do? What's he at now? Why's it got to be backdoor?
Backdoor. I can't tell. I only have the game up on ESPN, and I still don't think they have the bench minutes on that team. So, but they didn't bring PJ in. Oh no, he was already in. Oh well. Wow, Chetty. Is Chetty finally having a game? He's been awful. Is Chetty Osman having a game off the bench? I can't tell. It won't tell me anything about the bench in either game. God damn it, ESPN. You had one job. Get your shit together. They went to Boo Night, not PJ. Book Night, I should say. I would say Boo Night because, well, I mean, that's what it says. But Book Night is how it is pronounced, I believe. Sorry, as we're getting close to all these games going, that is what I am.
Apparently, Mobley just destroyed Giannis.
He yacked on him.
I am excited to discuss that on the podcast here in about 15 minutes between Cavs fan number 1, Adam Pfeiffer, and Milwaukee Bucks fan number 1, Joe Matz.
I don't get invited on the podcast.
You want to come on?
I don't know. It's too late now.
There's your invite.
No, I'm gonna stay home and stare forlornly into the corner as a tear rolls slowly down my cheek, watching my twilight years disappear in the fog of loneliness and drug addiction. That'll be fine.
I'll make sure we get you the invite as soon as possible, Eddie.
Yeah, thank you.
Luka Bembry or Ja and Cam Johnson. I think I'm leaning the second one there. Purple H says, why Levert? Did he pick up another foul?
I doubt it. Just whinging. He's just having a whinge.
I mean, it's 8 minutes, 4 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, still 2 fouls. And we've got
10 fantasy
6.5. Yeah, 6.5 still to go in the first quarter. Or in the first
15 point, I'm not saying you should be excited, but the guy's going to have 15 minutes. And I mean, unless he gets a foul, and coaches are stupid. Supposing Luka is out, which again I should say is like 10% likely, and no one else has mentioned it. I'm probably just wasting everyone's time. Brunson or Mills on SD would be Brunson, not close, though I don't think you'll have that news in time since Mills locks in literally 2 minutes. Does Cam Johnson ownership fall now with the Brooklyn guys? Oh God, yes. He was going to be really highly owned. I will give you a figure, but do I buy Luke at 2%? No, he'll be higher than 2%. He'll be 8 or 9%. Cam Johnson was going to be 60% owned, and that number will now be 38, 42, something like that. He's going to come down markedly. Yak him.
PJ Tucker, 8 quick points, 3 for 3 from the field. Jimmy Butler, 4, 2, and 1. We're 6.5 minutes into that one. Bam, 2, 3, and 5 with a block.
Where?
See if Terrence Mann picked it up at all.
You did.
There's a Mobley poster there.
There it is. Put them on a poster, Mobley. I like the Cavs. I like that the NBA teams talk shit to each other. Makes me so happy. My favorite. There's a household name. I think I need to refresh my Twitter list. Anyone has a really good beat reporter Twitter list? I have 11 that I cycle through here, but they're all old. Some are bad. I got to get rid of a couple. And so Tyler Hero, loaded with antibodies, now returns. What an interesting tweet you've sent, Ira Wenderman.
He just came out of the protocols, right?
Mm-hmm. Loaded with antibodies.
45 seconds here till in the most important ownership of the night, yeah?
Yes.
Raps, Bulls, Nuggets, Nets.
Triple H. Mike Gallagher has a list, doesn't he? Oh, I'm sure he does. I like Mike and our friends. We've been in leagues together.
I think Conrad's on edge tonight. I love it. Right, I'm trying to hype him up before the podcast.
Yeah, there are a few guys who are really good at being DFS basketball touts for what reason. They're either not good at DFS or they don't know basketball and they really know DFS. So everyone has some weird hole in their game. Like Josh Lloyd we talked about and Mike Gallagher, who you just mentioned, are both really good season long guys. Neither of them has a good understanding of the way DFS works. So if you listen to Josh's podcast where he breaks down the previous day's slates, are great. If you want to hear what happened last night in an hour, you didn't have time to watch, Josh is great for that. And Mike has a very good understanding of season-long basketball, pays a lot of attention to detail. So his shit is very much worth looking at if you want to understand basketball stuff. And then there's people more than I could name who understand DFS extremely well, but don't really get basketball and try to treat it like it's football or baseball, and it's just fucking not. So, yeah, there's a lot of talented dudes out there.
Yeah, I saw it, Joe. Oh man, we are at.
What's that? Someone said Book is going for 81 tonight, and I'm like, Book has been doing some work. This last week has been his best week of the goddamn year for quite a bit here.
All right, we'll go through this ownership.
We have ownership,
and then we shall depart.
All right.
Felt good though to get back to the 2-hour mark. After the short Monday.
This ownership is going to be a nightmare. Sorry, yes, it was great to spend this time with you. But yeah, sorry, I was just stuck on holy shit, the ownership on this time. Okay. Got me massive ownership. What are the 3 8 o'clock games?
Just the 2, right?
Just the 2 sick ones? I thought there was another one.
Spurs Memphis is 30 minutes. Yeah.
So who's going to be the highest owned?
I guess the question is, did somebody beat out the 40% Terrence Mann?
Did someone
picked it up a little bit? 11 and 3/4 DK.
Yeah, for
3.7.
Yeah, for 3.7 he's doing fine. He's not breaking the slate, which is all you care about if you fade him. If he gets 26 fantasy points, it's very good for 3.7. Not gonna change markedly any significant thing there. Okay. So let's see. You have how much James Harden? I'm gonna go with 0.6%.
Harden.
Oops. And then get off. Sorry.
Oh boy, Harden. 1.13.
Oh, so generous. Thank you, everyone.
We appreciate those people.
Yeah, very kind. Thank you. Congratulations. You played yourself.
Good indeed.
Highest owned. Let's go with Patty Mills.
Patty Mills, number 1 in this batch. Also, we didn't touch on the 2 730s, right? So we'll have those in here as well.
Right. Oh, right. So I got Sacramento, Atlanta, and the shit one in there. And Miami.
Mix, yeah.
The only one there isn't going to make any difference is Halliburton, who will get a real number, but he won't get as high as some of these Nets guys. I will go with. All right, so who's going to be popular for the Nets? You're going to have. Mills, you said, was number 1. All right, so let me get a number here. It's going to be very similar to where it's going to be too high, I would think. I'll go 42.
31. 31 for Patty.
Well, that's fine. That's a very nominal number. And he came in number 1 at 31. I imagine it gets pretty dense here. Let's try. Going to the value too. Right? Because it can't be Aldridge because there's going to be a lot of Jokic too. Who's going to be 20-something. All right. So who am I dealing with here? I'm dealing with Bembry, James Johnson, Jokic, and Pascal on here now. It's forward eligible. And Edwards is in here somewhere too. All right. Mills, Johnson.
Johnson number 3.
Bembry.
Are you only guessing Nets here? Or?
I'm guessing
okay.
Players who have locked since 7:30.
It gives the game away. It's not a net.
Yeah, Jokic
number 2.
Yeah, that's too much. Don't get me wrong. I like him just fine. Could be the highest scoring player in the slate, but that he's going to be 29%.
24 still.
Okay, that's not that. I mean,
it's not crazy, but
that's not insane. I mean, it's Jokic against the G League. I mean, if they keep it close, then yippity skippity. I guess there was a conversation where I guess I should have been more. If you have Jokic, you correlate better with the net starters. It seems obvious, but I should have said that. So if you have Jokic, you like Bembry more than Bruce Brown. If you don't have Jokic, you can at least make an argument for playing Bruce Brown instead of Bembry, as one example. You like Mills more if you have Jokic. He's fine anyway, but that conversation probably should have been had. Okay, so Jokic, Johnson, you're saying?
Yes.
Bembry?
Bembry would be 7.
Aldridge.
Yes, Aldridge number 4.
21.
21 and a quarter.
Brilliant. Halliburton.
Halliburton 6.
So Siakam.
Yeah, Siakam 5.
Okay. So Siakam, Halliburton, and then
Bembry.
Bembry.
Yeah.
Edwards, Payne.
Edwards, Brown.
Edwards, Brown, Payne. Okay. Or Thomas. I'm getting 3 cams tonight is more than I can.
Edwards, Brown, Rashawn Holmes, and all these are separated by less than 3%. Okay. Trent Jr., Cam Thomas, DeMar, OG, Jimmy Butler at 9.
I totally forgot about the Bulls game in its entirety. So
Dean Wade really at 0, 7.3%. That's tough.
Dean Wade has 0 fantasy points so far.
0, according to this, with Chetty at 27, I believe, at the half.
Is Chetty really doing it? Chetty's
he's doing it. 0.5% owned.
I mean, that's balls, but giant slates. That's how you get there. Is where you get. Dante was having a huge game tonight too. He actually ranked okay. I almost made a Dante mention there when we were talking about this game, and I didn't. He's having 5, 4, 2, and 2 off the bench apparently, which is quite something.
Yeah, I thought he might get back in the starting lineup tonight.
It seemed possible.
And then I liked him. I think he was my second highest ranked Buck, I think, or at least tied with Pat C after he pulled the start. But yeah, he's too cheap. I know some people took advantage of that. I think it was Friday or Saturday slate when he put up the 30 burger at like 3.5 or something.
Washington checked in. Someone just said to me.
Nice.
I'm not super worried about. Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion on Washington. Like if he hadn't gotten in foul trouble, the 30 minutes would have been very close. Plumlee, I think, has gotten. It really depends on Plumlee foul trouble. If Plumlee didn't get in foul trouble, I thought they would go more with Boone, take it easier, and he'd end up with 29 minutes. So I thought it was fun to take the bet under 30, but I don't.
Oubre is the one getting the time here.
Okay.
He's already above 15 with 2.5 to go.
Nice. Someone says Goga can go fuck himself.
All right. I'm getting the let's go fucker messages from my co-host.
Oh, for reference, someone says Goga can go fuck himself. He has 3 fouls. He has 11.3 rebounds and an assist in 12 minutes. That's not exciting, but
you really gotta
16 fantasy points and 5 for 7 from the field in 12 minutes.
You really got to look at who's saying this stuff, Eddie. If it's Triple H, let it go.
It's just having some fun. That's okay. No, yeah. I let it all go. I'm a big fan of allowing people to be salty, losing money or being.
Triple H will be. He will fuck a player 2 minutes into the game.
Wow, that's exciting.
It's kind of his brand.
So you're saying he should get off him instead of fucking him?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe just go beat off and stop watching hoops. I don't know.
Yeah, that'll work. He got me.
Definitely calm you down.
The full tilt. Yeah, okay. He got me solid. Well done. Tip of the cap. That was nice done.
Josh says, 30 seconds in for Triple H.
Yeah. I enjoy the meme. Like, for game opens, misses the first shot. You fuck. Always enjoyable. All right, everyone. Well, I'll say my goodnights, and then I'll allow our good friend Zach here to sign us off. It's been a pleasure to spend part of this Wednesday evening with you. I know without having Gordon Hayward in our lives on the court tonight, he was still in our hearts, and he was on our minds. So that's my final thought.
Yeah, I mean, we hope he exits the protocols soon, and not sure if the Hornets play next Wednesday, but I know everybody here at FTN does, so we can consider Gordon Hayward on a Wednesday once more. All that being said, appreciate everybody tuning in for this 2-hour and 6-minute edition of Live with Fast Eddie Fear. It's been our pleasure to share this time with you all. Appreciate the participation through it all from the chat, as always. And Eddie, always good to be with you, my good buddy. We will talk, you and I will talk, I'm sure, Flash Challenge tonight. We will sweat out the S1 drop tomorrow. So good luck to you, sir, in that.
Thank you. You too.
And for Eddie, I'm Zach. I'll begrudgingly shout out our producer, Thomas, the producer extraordinaire, because I do believe that he jinxed me with the YouTube comment in the description about how maybe I was going to make it a month without being muted. So the sign's back to 0. I am sad, and I'm off to the FTN NBA podcast recording. So good luck, everybody. And as always,
let's get these beans.